Bahamas tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shishina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, the nation's leader presenting the mid-year budget to Parliament today. He outlined detailed initiatives by the government to impact the economy and curb spending. He also expressed optimism about the country's growth and development. The nation's leader says the economic activity in the United States reflects that the economy in that country is expanding at a solid pace. Here at home, Christie notes that the Bahamas economy is also showing an upward trajectory.
The central bank sees the clear potential for further strengthening of the Bahamian economy as sustained growth in the United States and the phased opening of Bahama Resort support what are projected to be appreciable gains in our tourism sector. In addition, continued work on the many foreign investment projects to which I alluded earlier will provide ongoing support to activity in our construction industry. As a result of all this new economic resurgence in the Bahamas, employment conditions in the Bahamas are expected to improve steadily both this year and beyond.
The nation's leader adds that the latest growth forecast that the IMF has published for the Bahamian economy is contained in its October World Economic Outlook.
The IMF projects real growth for us this year and indeed next year of around 2%. I should add, Mr. Speaker, that I now see this forecast as somewhat conservative in light of the fact that the IMF has more recently boosted its growth forecast for the United States economy to an appreciable degree. As a result, our own growth prospects may even be better than last projected by the IMF.
The nation's leader believes that because of his government's decisive actions and discipline, the country has turned the corner and significant growth and job prospects are now realistically in the offering.
The optimism of my government is buttressed by the latest International Monetary Fund forecast, which, while still conservative in my estimation, shows that real output in our economy is expected to be over $600 million larger in 2017 than it was in 2012. Mr. Speaker, that's an increase of almost 8% in real terms over our current 5-year mandate.
Christie says while the country is still facing great challenges, he is confident they have already achieved success against great odds, and they will continue to do what is considered in the best interest of the Bahamian people. Well, as the government works to restore Grand Bahama's economy, officials at the Grand Bahama Port Authority are also focused on attracting new business to this island. Sabrina Brown has a report.
President of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Ian Roll, says he's optimistic about the year ahead, and he's forecasting growth in key sectors on the island.
Tourism sector and also the industrial sector. You know, the industrial sector has always been strong for us, and it will be even stronger as a result of planned expansion to the container port and other industrial products or projects planned for the city. I also see expansion in the tourism sector. 2015 is the start of a great year for Freeport. That's what I believe.
While the port executive talked about new business on tap for the nation's second city, he said he could not disclose particulars of other projects proposed for this island.
You've been made aware of additional airlift coming into the city to service the various hotels. You've also been made aware that there are current negotiations with Memories on the island. They want to do more on the island. You've been made aware of expansion plans at the container port. There's another industrial customer on this island, major industrial customer, who has also planned an 80-90 million expansion project. I think that's what has been made public, and so that's as much as I can say at the moment.
According to Roll, the port is focused on putting Grand Bahama's economy back on the fast track.
We have a vision plan that we will unveil in short order as well, and we have already identified 1 or 2 partners to help us realize these goals that we have at the port.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Sabrina. Well, the government's commitment to tax reform continues, and the introduction of the historic value-added tax is proving to be successful. Understanding the role the Customs Department plays in this process is also being underscored. Joan Davis-Roll reports.
As the nation's leader, the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie, announced that value-added tax collection continues to bolster the government's revenue collections, the role the Customs Department plays in this process is vital. Since its January 1st implementation, Bahamas Customs has collected millions of dollars in VAT revenue. Senior Customs Officer Larry Bodie reiterates the role of Customs and how this new tax is being collected, even as it relates to duty-free items.
If a passenger imports goods that are duty-free under the tariff, though it is duty-free under the tariff, it is VATable under the VAT Act, and as such will attract $7.50. And so it's very important to bear in mind that essentially there are two values now, custom duty value and also the VAT value.
Bodie explains another category of goods deemed VATable.
Whatever the value that is declared and whatever the duty that has been worked out, the duty value is added to the value declared. The sum of that is multiplied by 7.5%. That is how the officer will work out the VAT duty. And so that's very important. It is the sum of the value and the duty, and where necessary, the levy and the sum total, you will multiply it by 7.5%. And that is essentially with respect to baggage goods.
The senior customs official also noted that there are some agencies who are exempted from paying VAT.
Goods are imported for government departments and the like, and they are exempted. Of course, approved charitable organization, they are also exempted under the VAT Act. As far as zero rated, like I said earlier, bringing goods for temporary importation, they are zero rated. And goods that are brought in for eventual exportation, they are also zero rated.
Joan Davis-Roll, ZNS Network News.
VAT was implemented 6 weeks ago, but there still appears to be some confusion related to the system of taxation. While the VAT department has held several meetings throughout the island, some merchants still believe that they may be being charged VAT without the proper authorization to do so. Tonight, Atalia Hall tells us that consumers need only inspect the VAT certificate in local stores.
There are two VAT certificates. The first one bears the VAT watermark with the word VAT marked in aquamarine and Form 18 written in the right-hand corner of the certificate. Merchants displaying their certificate are authorized to charge VAT, but on the other hand, other merchants with a certificate of taxpayer registration are not allowed to charge VAT. If you look closely at that VAT-free certificate, you would notice the certificate bears the image of the coat of arms of the Bahamas. This certificate is granted to business owners who applied for a tax identification number to facilitate business with the government, but are not authorized to charge VAT.
We recognize that there have been some persons who have inadvertently applied for TIN only when they intended to apply as a VAT registrant. What we're going to suggest to business persons, once you recognize that that is the situation that apply, that you get in touch with us at our offices.
VAT consultant Keith Worrell is advising business owners to examine all documents and forward all concerns to the VAT department in the Region Center.
It is illegal for you to be charging VAT if you have at your premises a certificate of taxpayer registration as opposed to a VAT registrant certificate, which is a certificate of registration. It's illegal to do that. We don't want you breaking the law.
Grand Bahamas VAT consultant urges all members of the public to comply with all rules or face heavy fines,
ranging up to $150,000 for an infraction. Where the controller opts to pursue it as a criminal matter, the Act provides for a person who, on conviction, to be fined up to $250,000 and or 12 months imprisonment. So we're doing our best now to advise merchants.
He says the public has been very cooperative when it comes to VAT, but he notes that all consumers must remain vigilant and advise the department of any discrepancies they may encounter.
We are doing compliance visits, but we're relying heavily on the consuming public to help us police this. Because the thing the consuming public must bear in mind is that it's a consumer tax. We pay the tax. And we have an obligation to ensure that those persons who are charging us tax are charging us in accordance with the law.
Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us. We have more news right after this.
Bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition.
Welcome back. A local technical institute helping to put young people back to work. Sabrina Brown has the details.
A total educational center continuing its mission to help prepare young people for the work environment. TEC will launch a job recruitment drive on Thursday, starting in the West Grand Bahama District. Marketing Associate Selena Hall Glinton.
Our industry partners have contracted us to find qualified individuals to fill various positions both in the hospitality area and the industrial sector.
While TEC focuses on technical training, Hall Glinton says they're looking for some 100 people to fill various positions.
We train them, get them ready for the jobs, and once they pass the training, the qualifications, they're almost guaranteed employment. But the key is to do what it takes to get in. That means bring in your passport, your national insurance card, your resume, come in, register. There's opportunities for persons who like to work in guest services or who prefer to be in the back of the house, as they say, in those positions, as well as the industrial sector. We're looking for berth operators, we're looking for straddle drivers, so we're encouraging the general public to come out.
Treasurer with the West Grand Bahama Youth Development Association, Dwight Garvey, is excited about the prospects for young people in that district.
I'm pleading to you people in West End once again. I was down there already through Tech Institute trying to get you all training for job opportunities. We had quite a few young people that started the program. Out of that program, just one young man stuck with the whole program all the way through, and he continued and finished the program, and he's now employed. Yeah, I tap my hats to Tech for that also, and the young guys in West End who quit the program. This is an example for you to see that if you're stuck with it, you also would have been employed.
Thursday's job recruitment exercise will be held at the St. Mary Magdalene Anglican Hall in West End at 6:30 p.m. and then at the Total Educational Center in Hawksbill on February 19th. TEC is also planning to take the program to East Grand Bahama. Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
3 local charities are grateful for the level of support given by the JA program here on Grand Bahama. Today, in celebration of the organization's 30th anniversary, achievers donated a wide variety of food items to Roberta's Senior Citizens Home, the Red Cross, Grant's Home for the Aged, and Burroughs Home for the Aged. Chairman of the organization, Donald Glass, says the achievers are dedicated to helping persons throughout the community.
We realize that there are individuals in the community that really need assistance. And so every year we make this a concerted effort to come together with the young people, because it's a training program for them too, because when they themselves become adults, they will know that what they did when they were teenagers and able to provide assistance on their own to persons in the community.
Our students have partnered up with the Borco team in order to do the drive. We did our drive at the Solomons on Queens Highway. Persons were very giving, even in a time as this, and that's wonderful, so that we be able to impart to such persons such as the Red Cross that would need assistance from persons like ourselves.
Now, this is a busy week for the achievers. Tomorrow, they will take part in the finals of the speech competition, which will be held under the theme, My Future Begins With Me.
Encourage and invite the public to come and see these dynamic young speakers display their skills. So that's tomorrow evening at the Mary Star of the Sea Auditorium, beginning at 6:30. And then on Saturday, we have our motorcade, whereby we're inviting all of our past achievers, past advisors, sponsors, and families to just join us in the motorcade, just celebrating 31 years of excellence with the JA program on Grand Bahama.
Now, that competition is planned for the Mary Star Auditorium at 6:30 p.m. And this is the week of love, and one visiting couple just couldn't wait for Valentine's Day to express their love for each other. It's a love story that started thousands of miles away, but this love story also involves the couple's deep love for Grand Bahama as well. Megan Shepard unravels the love story in this report.
I see it clear. Kathleen Russell and Michael Hanna have been in love for 7 years now and in love with Grand Bahama ever since their first visit last year. The couple say they fell in love with everything the island has to offer, but 8 Mile Rock stole their hearts for a specific reason.
One day we were driving down here to 8 Mile Rock, and we drove past this sign here, Hannah Hill, and I said to my boyfriend at the time, I said Hannah Hill, so we came back and we looked, and sure as heck it was Hanna. And then we drove a little bit further and to experience more of the island, and we came across Russelltown, which is my last name.
Michael Hanna says the moment he proposed was a pretty special experience, and he even had the help of French to capture the moment.
I kept it in mind, and I always wanted to get married to Kathleen, so when we went back home, when we were planning our next trip down, I kind of thought to myself, I said it would be an excellent place to propose to her, because I think it was time that she went from a Russell to become a Hannah. So with that in mind, we got her nails done, and I tried to surprise her, and I think it all worked out well, and she did say yes, and it's all good in Hannah Hills.
Kathleen adds that she was in tears when he proposed and jokingly adds that it was about time.
We were on our way home, and Michael said, let's stop and take a picture of Hannah Hill again. And I said, well, we don't need to do that. You already have a picture. He says, oh, please we'll do that. So anyways, we did, and next thing I know, he's on his knee, and he's asking me to marry him. It was just amazing, and it couldn't have been in a more beautiful place and beautiful island, and it has so much to offer, and the people here are just so beautiful, and everybody is so good to everyone.
The couple is currently house hunting here on Grand Bahama and say they hope to settle down on the island in the future.
We're going to get married next year, either January or February, and it will definitely be on this beautiful island. We're not sure, but Hannah Hill would be an awesome place to get married and have my new name.
Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
What a beautiful love story. Stay with us to check on sports while we return. And sports is dedicated to Lisa Farrington. Tonight, we hope that you have a great one. Topping sports, the Rising Stars softball and baseball program officially opened on the weekend. Italia Hall fills us in.
The Hoyts program, helping our youth through education and sports, is still going strong on Grand Bahama. The league began in the late 70s with various sports, but now the main focus is basketball. Students meet every Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and thousands of boys and girls pass through the program and have become successful citizens today.
I certainly believe in Hoyts as a program in terms of what Coach Gladstone Moan McPhee is doing out here with the development of not just young men, but young women as well, and teaching them the game of basketball, and then taking the principles from basketball and teaching them life skills. I think he's doing an awesome job out here. It's a program that I certainly believed in. I've had one son that has come through this program, and other kids have come through this program that have gone on to do extremely well. Buddy Heel, John Quell Jones.
Bain says the coach has been doing an exceptional job with the kids, and the results are proving that.
This is where it all began, and where it was polished, and hats off to Coach McPhee for doing such a wonderful job. And I think he has the right idea, one young person at a time, who could encourage another young person and help get them involved in positive activities.
He encourages parents to send their kids out as it is one of the best development programs in the country.
As you can see from the amount of boys and girls that are out here, and then the involvement of parents and also volunteers, it tells you that Coach McPhee knows what he's doing.
It's Talia Hall, ZNS Total Sports.
The primary school softball Nico Grant and Anita Doherty League, Bishop Michael Eldon girls over Sunland 10-9. Lewis Yard outscoring Holmes Rock Primary 5-1. Freeport Primary defeated Walter Parker 11-3. Hugh Campbell put away Maurice Moore 5-3. And in high school basketball, playing the Derek Nesbitt and Obie Wilshcombe League, Tabernacle under 17 boys held off Jack Hayward 10-3 in playoff action. Sunland held off St. George's 36-30. Mary Star Senior Girls down St. George's 21-6. BMES defeated Tabernacle 16-11 and played under protest. And hundreds of preschoolers from over 20 schools throughout the island of Grand Bahama descending on the Independence Park today for the Ministry of Education's 14th annual preschool sports day. The little aspiring athletes participated in friendly competition while vying for the top spot in various categories. Senior Education Officer Violet Stubbs.
This is a time when our 3- and 4-year-olds come together to demonstrate their abilities in their physical development, things that they have been practicing and learning throughout the school year. This is also a time when our parents and family members have a time to interact with their children and have fun with their children. And this is also a time of camaraderie. I'd like to say a special thanks this year to Almighty God, because this morning when we got up, we thought the weather was going to stop us, but everybody prayed and He held the clouds back, and it turned out to be a beautiful day and once again a very beautiful event.
Now, Stubbs says the annual event is significant for the overall development of the young people.
Cognitive development, learning your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3s, that's important. But as children grow, you'll notice that the physical development plays a very important part. Children have to learn how to coordinate their muscles, how to move properly, how to walk and run within lines, and also how to follow orders. And so when they come together in an event like this, we are able to see and really get to watch our children one-on-one to see if these things are really coming to play in their lives.
Now, Lisa, it's all about you today, and that's my time for sports.